So today we're supposed to go over this question, the number 40. Sorry. Number 43, the karmic situation of beings who have no aspiration for enlightenment, as explained by Shakyamuni Buddha in the larger sutra. Actually, this question is thoroughly answered in a section that has the same title, in sections 31 and 40 of the larger sutra commentary, page 413, 413. Okay. So this chapter, you go to this page, and actually this section is not so, it's very obvious, it's very profound, but I will just quote several sections of the sutra, not all of it because it's quite long. This section of the sutra is almost like, I don't know, I would say like 20 pages at least long or more. But here Shakyamuni just explains that we should abandon samsara, we should do good, no? Try to do our best to have a moral life and practice compassion and all of this, and aspire to be born in the Pure Land, no? So basically, this chapter is divided by Sensei in two sections: the karmic situation of beings who have no aspiration towards enlightenment, and second, Shakyamuni Buddha's encouragements to do good in daily life and to aspire for birth in the Pure Land for the attainment of enlightenment. Okay? So the first is the karmic situation of beings who have no aspiration towards enlightenment. Shakyamuni Buddha described various kinds of evil deeds and their karmic consequences. No, like for example, not to keep the 5 precepts. No, remember the 5 precepts are not to practice. Not to steal, not to kill. No, not to practice sexual misconduct, not to lie. No, all of these basic moral rules. And here Shakyamuni Buddha describes that many people, actually the majority of people, especially in this human world, and especially in this era of the 5 defilements, the majority of people do not keep the 5 precepts. Okay, even at the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, not to mention today, which is even more common today. Yes, people even nowadays not only do they not follow the 5 precepts, but they also exalt or they praise evil conduct, praise sexual misconduct, for example, as you were talking about. They praise killing others, or praise violence, or they praise stealing in some form of another, praise idle speech, or praise lying, for example. This is the situation of beings in samsara. So we will examine this in the words of Shakyamuni Buddha. So I will mostly quote Shakyamuni Buddha speaking of this himself. So you could compare these teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha like a loving mother or father, trying to tell their children, not do this. Look at the consequence of your evil actions. You see, if you do this, you will harm yourself. And sometimes you could see him speaking in very honest and frank and even energetic words, like a mother even scolding their children. But a loving mother does this not because precisely because he loves his children, because he doesn't want their children to get hurt. So Shakyamuni Buddha says, okay, look at what you're doing. This is the way beings behave in samsara who have no aspiration towards nirvana. And you shouldn't do this. No, you should actually do the opposite. You should aspire towards enlightenment, and you should follow the 5 precepts, and you should have a good moral life and practice compassion and wisdom. Yes, which are of course very sensible things to say, very even common sense, you could say. But of course, people in samsara, including us, of course, are possessed of blind passions. Yes. Then Shakyamuni Buddha said in the larger sutra, yes, that beings are possessed of these evil passions. Now remember that there are many evil deeds, as Jodo Sensei explains here on page 414, and at the section 31, section 31 of the larger sutra, there are many evil deeds that can be classified in 3 sections. Or in three types of evil deeds: the delusion and ignorance of what is truly important, like the need for liberation, the law of karma, death, and rebirth, So the delusion in these terms is to ignore or to deny or to follow things that do not include this, or to deny the law of karma, deny the 6 realms of samsara, deny the need to overcome samsara and attain enlightenment. And the second is greed and attachments, attachments to sensual pleasures, attachment to property, to riches, attachment to women, in the case of women to men, or attachment to sexual misconduct. Also greed, anger, and hate, are the third category. Okay, so greed. So basically, these are the 3 poisons. Delusion, greed, and anger. Anger, greed, and delusion. Okay, delusion of the Dharma, not to follow the Dharma, or to promote views that are not in accordance with the Buddha Dharma. Yes, which according to Shinran, according to Shakyamuni Buddha himself, everything that is not the Dharma is pervert and is evil, and is actually something that can lead you to samsara. Okay, even the noblest religions or things that look good in the outside are things that do not lead to liberation, but to lead to samsara, to repeated deaths and births. Okay, so they are actually they defile the world. This is stated in the sutras, and Shinran said this. So this delusion. Then greed is to crave for things in samsara, to crave for status, to crave for riches, to crave for material enjoyment. And anger is when you don't get your way, you can kill others, harm others, hate others, have resentment. Okay, so these are the 3 poisons. And actually, these 3 poisons are actually represented by 3 animals. Buddhism is a very didactic religion. At the center of the Kala Chakra of samsara, the wheels of samsara, you see the 3 animals. The hog, or the pig, represents ignorance. The serpent represents hate, and the rooster, the rooster, this bird, this very proud bird, represents a greed. So these 3 animals are at the center of samsara, implying that actually what moves the wheel of samsara are these 3 mental poisons. Remember, greed, anger, and delusion or ignorance. And then Shakyamuni Buddha himself explains in the larger sutra. He says, people of the world, being weak in virtue, engage in strife over matters that are not urgent. So this is very important. What is not urgent? So let's hear what Master Renu had to say about this. The matter of the greatest importance is of the afterlife. What is the afterlife? What happens to us after we die? Okay, this is something that Master Renu almost repeated like a mantra in all of his letters in the Ofumi. He always said, do not engage in trivial matters. Do not engage in trivial matters, And Master Renu himself found himself in a very turbulent time in Japan, Many people were talking about revolution. Yes, and many people saw Renu, who spoke about Shinjin being equal for all people, for aristocrats and peasants alike. And he said, oh, Renu Shonen is interested in politics, So he wants to help. And actually, Renu, yes, he cared about the well-being of his people, of course, but he always said, the matter of greatest importance is the afterlife, not this world, but what will happen to you when you die, So whatever is not related, yes, to birth in the Pure Land and receiving Shinjin is of no importance to us in Jodo Shinshu. In Jodo Shinshu, we care about the center of all what we teach is receive Shinjin yourself and make others receive Shinjin. Yes, other things not related to this are at best a distraction, at best. Okay, so Shakyamuni Buddha said in the larger sutra, in the midst of abject wickedness and extreme afflictions, they, referring to mundane people, they painstakingly toil for their living, whether noble or corrupt, rich or poor, young or old, male or female, all people worry about wealth and property. In this, there is no difference between rich and poor. Both have their anxieties. Groaning in dejection and sorrow, they pile up thoughts of anguish, or driven by inner urges, they roam wildly in all directions and thus have no time for peace and rest. For them, if they own fields, they are concerned about them. If they have houses, they worry about them. They also are anxious about their six domestic animals, such as cows and horses, about their male and female servants, money, wealth, clothes, food, and furnishings. With deepening troubles, they sigh repeatedly, and anxiety increasingly torments and terrifies them. Sudden misfortune may befall them. All their possessions may be destroyed by fire, swept away by floods, plundered by robbers, or seized by adversaries or creditors. So, okay, I will read another passage here. When the life of mundane people, when their lives end in such agonizing conditions, they must leave everyone and everything behind. Even the nobles and wealthy people have these worries. With such anxiety and fear, they endure such tribulations. Breaking out in cold sweats or fevers, they suffer unremitting pain. Okay? I will read another passage here. Since they have not done any good in particular, nor follow the way. What is the way? The Buddha Dharma, no? The way to liberation, or acted virtuously, then when they die, they will depart alone to an inferior world. What is an inferior world? Remember that samsara is divided into the 3 higher realms and the 3 lower realms. The 3 lower realms, or the 3 evil paths, or 3 evil realms, yes, is the hell, pretas, and animals. Okay, so they go to these evil worlds. Although they are destined to different states of existence, none of them understands the law of karma that sends them there. This is very important. Actually, in these 20 pages of these sections in which Shakyamuni Buddha starts to explain the condition of people who do not aspire towards enlightenment, he constantly repeats this, the law of karma. They ignore the law of karma. Okay, so ignoring the law of karma is kind of like ignoring Buddhism all by itself. Why? It's because everything that we do, as Shinran said, even the tiniest particle, no, the tiniest hair, everything, doesn't matter how minute we think it is based on the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. Okay, everything we think, everything we say, everything we do, yes, affects our present and will eventually create our future. And even when our present body disintegrates, and it will surely do, then our mind will keep creating, creating bodies ad infinitum. If it isn't stopped, by the practice of the Buddha Dharma or by Amida Buddha, and we will see that, then it will go on forever, because samsara has no beginning. Okay, so such is the tragedy, or such is the dark situation of beings in samsara who do not think about the afterlife, who do not think, as Renu shown, in the greatest matter of all. What is the greatest matter? The afterlife. What will happen to you when you don't have this body? And actually, all of the great masters and the great Buddhist practitioners of the past, they always consider this, and this inspired them to practice whatever Dharma gate they chose. Okay, if you practice, for example, I don't know, the path of the sages, like meditation or sasen, then if you meditate on impermanence, then it will give you a boost. It will inspire you to be even a great practitioner, a great bodhisattva. Okay, in our case, since we don't have these capacities, yes, not because we don't want to, but because we don't have them. We cannot practice a great meditation. We cannot have a moral life. Okay, so in our case, reflecting about impermanence and reflecting about the law of karma that would send us to a further suffering in samsara will help us to entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha even faster. Okay, so these reflections that Shakyamuni Buddha is putting forth, are meant to inspire us to escape samsara. Okay, this is the reason why, and to inspire us to have a good moral behavior, or to try to have it. Yeah. Remember that being saved as we are by Amida Buddha is not an excuse to practice misconduct in any regard. Okay, we should try to live our best life possible. Yes, However, the big difference between us and a self-power practitioner of the Jiriki path is that we do not think that whatever we don't dedicate towards birth in the Pure Land or towards attainment of enlightenment, because we know that Amida Buddha is responsible for taking us there, not our merits, our so-called merits, okay? But however, we try to lead a moral life, yes, because we have respect for the Buddhas, because we are Buddhists, yes? Even though we are imperfect Buddhists, we are actually foolish beings, but we are foolish Buddhists as well, okay? So we should try to follow Buddhist morality, even though we fail, yes? But in regards to the transcendental question of Nirvana, we rely only on Amida Buddha, okay? We know that is settled once we receive Shinjin, okay? I will quote another section of this, because there are many good sections here, but it's very long, yes? It says here, exhausted in mind and body, they become restless in all their activities and anxieties follow on their heels. Such are the troubles they must endure. Breaking out in cold sweats or fevers, they suffer unremitting pain. Such conditions may result in the sudden end of their lives, or an early death. Since they have not done any good in particular, nor followed the way, nor acted virtuously, when they die, they will depart alone to an inferior world. Although they are destined to different states of existence, none of them understands the law of karma that sends them there. Okay? He says that those people of the world do not believe in pursuing good and receiving rewards or practicing the way and attaining enlightenment, nor do they believe in transmigration, birth and life after death, and the retribution for evil acts or reward for good ones, such as obtaining merit by helping others. Believing that these do not exist, they totally reject such a view, okay? So this is another tragedy, because on top of that, yes, they don't believe in any other higher realms, they don't believe in life after death, so they have a nihilistic kind of view. And this view is very, very, very much dangerous, you know, because this means that whatever you do, morality doesn't matter, nothing matters. You can kill somebody, there will be no consequences, okay? Many people nowadays believe this, you know, and the ones do not believe this, the majority of them are followers of non-Buddhist religions. So they have all the eternalist, you know, wrong view, in which they think that a creator God has created the universe, and they also deny the law of cause and effect, you know, okay? And the things they do are also possessed by samsaric ideologies that will lead them eventually also to further rebirth in the lower realms, okay? And in some other religions, the best they can aspire to is to be reborn as a deva or in heaven. However, being reborn in heaven, yes, like for example, some followers of Brahma, for example, that they do believe in some, you know, celestial beings, and they want to be there with their God. Eventually, they will fall from these higher realms of existence, and they will plunge back into the human world and even back into hell, you know? So this is the wheel of samsara. The only path that is taking you outside of samsara is the Buddha Dharma, yes? And the most effective path of them all is, of course, Amida Dharma, no? Because this is the only path that does not ask anything of anything from you, okay? It asks nothing, and it gives you everything, you know, because you only rely on Amida Buddha, and Amida Buddha takes care of you, no? Like we were talking about, like jumping on a plane, you don't have to fly yourself, you can just board the plane, and the plane will take care of you, and it will take you to your destination, you see? Then Shakyamuni Buddha also said, this is here in page 418, he says, the reality of birth and death is such that the sorrow of parting is mutually felt by all generations. A father cries over the death of his children. Children cry over the death of their father. Brothers, sisters, husbands, and wives mourn each other's deaths. According to the basic law of impermanence, whether death will occur in order of seniority or in the reverse order is unpredictable. All things must pass. Nothing stays forever. Few believe this, even if someone teaches and exhorts them. And so the stream of birth and death continues everlastingly. Because they are stupid and callous, such people do not accept the teachings of the Buddha. They lack forethought and only wish to satisfy their own desires. They are deluded by their passionate attachments, unaware of the way, the Buddha Dharma, misguided and trapped by anger and enmity, and intent on gaining wealth and gratifying their carnal desires like wolves. And so, unable to follow the way, they are again subject to suffering in evil realms in an endless cycle of birth and death. How miserable and pitiable this is. So imagine what Shakyamuni Buddha is talking about. When I read this, it's like Shakyamuni Buddha is like a loving father, like in the Lotus Sutra, in which the Buddha gives the analogy of children playing in a house that is on a fire. Yes, it's like in a house that is about to be destroyed by a big fire. So the Buddhas are like a loving mother, outside of this house in fire, saying, "Okay, children, get out." They are doing everything they can to get the children out of the house. So this is why Shakyamuni Buddha is talking with such energy. He says how miserable, how pitiable this is. And this is actually the core teaching of Buddhism. Yes, all great Dharma schools, all great lineages, they always should begin with this. Okay, because if you begin with this great meditation on impermanence and the cycle of samsara, then your practice will mean something. It will amount to something. Okay, even if you practice the Jiriki path, your practice will be more sincere. Okay, and in our case, if we start with this, then it will help us to consider that being born in the Pure Land is not like a fancy option that you have. It's not like, oh, it would be wonderful to be a Buddha. Yes, it's like a nice option. No, it's not like that. This is not the way that Shakyamuni Buddha spoke about the Dharma. He said that the only true happiness that there is to be found in this universe is Buddhahood, the only one. Okay, other kinds of happiness will eventually die. Yeah, so they are false happiness. Okay, so being born in the Pure Land or attaining enlightenment, yes, okay, is not like a interesting option of life. No, actually, as Buddhists, we know that this is salvation from the cycle of birth and death, and this is the only way that we will ever be happy. Okay, so this should be clearly understood. Okay, so we should be very careful how to present others Buddhism. Okay, we shouldn't present Buddhism like Joshua Sensei says, like a tablet for a headache. Oh, this is to be a good person. Is for you to to have a comfortable life or to be more loving. All of this BS. This is not Buddhism. Okay, this is what Buddhism is. This is what Shakyamuni Buddha taught in many sutras, not only in this sutra, in many sutras, in the Pali Canon, the Mahayana Canon, in the Tantras. Constantly, he's explaining about the dangers of cyclical existence. Okay, so we should start here and we should deeply reflect. Yes, in order to receive Shinjin in our hearts. And we should do it so quickly, because we could lose this human body in a second. As Shakyamuni Buddha said in the larger sutra here, in this passage that I have just read, we don't know if death should happen today. We don't know that. All the people that died in car accidents, I had many relatives, well, not many, but a couple of relatives that died in car accidents, for example, and they were very young, like 17, 16 years old. Imagine that. Okay, so you do not believe that death will come in an orderly fashion, like this person will die first and then the other, so it's predictable. No, it's not predictable. We don't know what can happen, so this is why Joshua Sensei explained in one of his videos in our last meeting that as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, we should always and Jodo Shinshu teachers, we should always be ready to answer as soon as possible, because we don't know if we will eat breakfast tomorrow, as a Mahayana master said. We don't know if we will, say hello to our relatives tomorrow. We don't know that, okay? And actually, in this samsaric world, we live like in an airport, Everybody is going to a different location. Everybody is going to this realm after they die. And we are all like in a marketplace, as Nagarjuna said. Everybody is going somewhere, The beauty of Jodo Shinshu is that if you entrust yourself to Amida Buddha, you know where you are going, okay? And this is a great relief, Yes, because even most Buddhists nowadays, they don't have any idea, and they are Buddhists, or they call themselves Buddhists, but they don't have any idea where they will go after death. Okay, so we should listen to Renu Shonin's advice. Yes, that the matter of greatest importance is the afterlife. Yes, other things not so important. Okay. Okay, so let's go and continue to read Shakyamuni Buddha's golden words. Yes. Then he says, in the same family, when one of the parents, children, brothers, sisters, or the husband or wife dies, those surviving mourn over the loss, and their attachment to the deceased persists. Deep sorrow fills their hearts, and grief-stricken, they mournfully think of the departed. No? Days pass and years go by, but their distress goes on. Even if someone teaches them the way, the Dharma, their minds are not awakened. Brooding over fond memories of the dead, they cannot rid themselves of attachment. Being ignorant, inert, and illusion-bound, they are unable to think deeply, keep their self-composure, practice the way with diligence, or dissociate themselves from worldly matters. As they wander here and there, they come to their end and die before entering on the way. Then, what can be done for them? No? So imagine that. So Shakyamuni Buddha is saying, even at the time of Shakyamuni, people have always had greed in their hearts. People always are looking for material things, for status. No? Even if when someone dies, then they get even more attached, or they can get depressed, or that they can even kill themselves over this. Okay, such is the delusion of ourselves in this samsara. Okay, so what can be done for them? So what Shakyamuni Buddha is saying here, in other words, is that we should practice the Dharma when we are healthy and we are strong. Of course, we should always preach the Dharma also to those that are about to die. Okay, but we should never wait. Should never wait. Never think like, I will take care of this Shinjin business when I'm about to die, when I'm at the hospital. No, this is a bad idea, because you can die without Shinjin, okay, at any moment. So you should settle the greatest matter of all, which is to settle your Shinjin right now. Do not wait, okay? Then Shakyamuni Buddha says, because they are spiritually defiled, deeply troubled and confused, because people indulge their passions. Hence, many are ignorant of the way, and few realize it. Everyone is restlessly busy, having nothing on which to rely, whether moral or corrupt, of high rank or low rank, rich or poor, noble or base. All are preoccupied with their own work. They entertain venomous thoughts or poisonous thoughts, creating a widespread and dismal atmosphere of malevolence. Submersive activities are planned contrary to the universal law and the wishes of the people. Injustice and vice inevitably follow and are allowed to run their course and unchecked until evil karma accumulates to the limit. Before they expect their lives to end, people meet sudden death and fall into evil realms, where they will suffer excruciating torments for many lives. They will not be able to escape for many thousands of kotis of kalpas. How indescribably painful, how pitiable this is. So imagine this wise admonition of Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay, here Shakyamuni Buddha is talking like a mother that is trying to taking his child and says, look at what you are doing, no, with love, no. It's like a loving father will always scold their children with love, you know. A bad parent will never scold their children. No, a bad parent will let their children go there and they will end up, you know, killing themselves or whatever, no. But a good parent will always be there for the children, telling them the truth, never hiding the truth from them. So here Shakyamuni Buddha is doing a marvelous job, I could say, summarizing the key points of the basic Dharma, you know. This is why I love the larger sutra, because the larger sutra contains like a condensed teaching of the basis of law, the law of cause and effect, and of course the teaching of Shinjin, the primal vow, and wish to be born in Amida Buddha's Pure Land. Okay. So as Yosho Sensei says in many of his books, and also Shinran Shonin, the cup of our evil karma, or our alaya consciousness, Remember that the Alaya consciousness is the 8th consciousness in which all of the karmic seeds of previous lives are accumulated. This could be compared to a cup, and this cup is completely filled with evil karma. Why? It's because it's much easier to fall into the 3 lower realms. It's very easy to be lazy. It's very easy to be evil. It's very easy to be subject to anger, and it's very easy to fall into the lower realm. So imagine if samsara is eternal to the past, where do you think we have spent most of our time? In the higher realms or in the lower realms? This was answered by Shakyamuni Buddha in many sutras. It's in the lower realms. And he is also saying this in the larger sutra. He's saying that the majority of sentient beings, we have spent the majority of our time in the lower realms, in the realms of hell, in the realms of pretas, and in the realm of animals. So the alaya consciousness that we have is filled to the brim, yes, with evil karma. Even though we have all Buddha nature, that is true, yes, okay? But it is hidden under layers and layers of delusion, okay? So even if we are have this Buddha nature, it's like we are rich and poor at the same time, because we don't have the means, we don't have the method of accessing these riches of the Buddha nature. So in reality, yes, it's like this Buddha nature is covered by all of this evil karma, okay? So we need a method to eliminate this evil karma. And this method, and the most effective method, is to entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha. Because once we do so, then Amida Buddha will plant the seed of Shinjin in our hearts. And when we are born in the Pure Land, it will be like melting ice before fire, no? Okay? So it will be completely natural to attain enlightenment there. So Amida Buddha is like a hot stove, and the Pure Land is like his realm of enlightenment, and it is filled with the fire of compassion and wisdom. And once we go there, okay, then the ice of our evil passions will melt away, and the only thing that will remain is the water of enlightenment. This is a way to explain it that many masters have used, and also Yosho Sensei. Is like going to the Pure Land is like throwing a piece of ice into a hot stove, okay? So it will be very easy, very natural to attain enlightenment there. Whereas in samsara, it's like being in a snowy cave, filled with ice, and it's very cold. It's very difficult to become water when you are in the Arctic, in the North Pole, let's say. Okay, so here in samsara, everything is conducive towards more evil karma. Whereas in the Pure Land, everything is conducive towards enlightenment. Okay. Let's go ahead a little bit to Shakyamuni Buddha's encouragement to be born in the Pure Land. Just give me a second.
One more thing to add that you also mentioned is that the fact that Amida Buddha saves us so easily is not an encouragement to do evil. And it's not, so Amida Dharma is not an instrument to justify blind passions or institutionalize them as normal behavior. So we are not saved, we are saved because we can't save ourselves, and because Amida Buddha has unlimited compassion towards us. But this doesn't mean that Amida Buddha agrees with our evil actions. No, and no Buddha actually agrees with our evil actions. They just know we are too sick to save ourselves through our own power. This is why they offer to us the primal vow of Amida Buddha. Actually, the larger sutra is filled with encouragements to do good. And the primal vow himself contains the encouragement to do good and to abstain from evil. That's the so-called exclusion. Exactly in the primal vow, Amida Buddha says, try your best. I'm saving you as you are, but try your best to do good. And also, I like how Shakyamuni Buddha speaks in the larger sutra. Shakyamuni Buddha says, people of the world, parents and children, brothers and sisters, husbands and wives. They are referring to us. And other family members and kinsmen should respect and love each other, refraining from hatred and envy. They should share things with others, not be greedy and miserly, always speak friendly words with a pleasing smile, and not hurt each other. So beautiful. Such a beautiful advice for an encouragement for our family life. So this is why I always say we should, other power in Jodo Shinshu means, and this difference that we do between self-power and other power, and the fact that we say that self-power is abandoned in Jodo Shinshu, it doesn't mean that we should not try to be good parents, to be good husbands or wives, and to be good children towards our parents. It does not refer to this. It refers only to the fact that only through Amida Buddha we can achieve ultimate enlightenment. So only in matters of enlightenment we can speak about this difference between self-power and other power. This is not an encouragement that we should not try our best to be successful in our daily lives.
Of course.
Or especially we should be successful in family life, in husband and wives relations, and parents and children, brothers and sisters, friends, so on. Yes.
Yes, and actually, thank you, Sensei. And actually, Shakyamuni Buddha encourages us to see the world through the lenses of the Buddha Dharma, you know. Actually, he says here in one of the sections, he says, what is there in this world that should be longed for? What pleasure is there that ought to be sought after? You know, he's saying that the greatest pleasure of all is the Buddha Dharma. You know, he says also, therefore you should think deeply and try to avoid various evil acts. Choose the good and diligently practice it. You know, so Shakyamuni Buddha is encouraging us to have a good life. Yes, also because it also leads to a happiness in the present. You know, it helps us to have a good relationship with your family, a good relationship with your friends, a good relationship with your Sangha as well. Yes, so this is completely true. Yes, we should be good Buddhists. Okay, the only difference.
And also one more thing, it is also in the larger sutra, Shakyamuni encourages politicians to have a good behavior. For example, Shakyamuni Buddha says rulers should abide by morality, reign with beneficence, and decree that everyone should maintain proper conduct. Proper conduct, that's very important. Revere the sages, respect people of virtue, be benevolent and kind to others, and take care not to disregard the Buddha's teachings and admonitions. So the fact that we rely on Amida Buddha to attain enlightenment does not mean that some of us, if they choose to, can't actually try to be good rulers, to rule over some countries, to, I don't know, to be good politicians. Yes,
yeah,
because
actually,
being a good politician can sometimes lead to create better conditions for people to have freedom of religion, follow the Dharma, have a better life. Yes.
Yes, actually, the great example of this is Prince Shotoku, no, in Japan, and for example, Ashoka, many of the great Buddhist politicians and rulers, and they have done many great good deeds. So being a monk, a nun, is good, but however, there are many cases in which politics is completely necessary for the Dharma. Yes, and actually, Shakyamuni Buddha was himself a friend of many aristocrats. He was himself a prince, but he also was friend with rich people and aristocrats who actually benefited the Dharma greatly by sponsoring temples, by having cities, by having you know, and the history of Buddhism is filled with many good examples of politicians and aristocrats who have been great patrons of the arts, patrons of sutra translation projects, of sponsoring Dharma temples, sponsoring hermits, like for example in Tibet, in Mongolia, in Japan. So it's very important for us to do that. Actually, there are complete sutras or that Shakyamuni Buddha giving advice to kings and monarchs that they should promote the Dharma. They should have temples, give money to the poor, also give money to monks and nuns, support the Dharma practice. So it's very important. Buddhism is about the relationship also of the lay people with the ordained monks and nuns. Okay, so it's very important to have this relationship and understand that you can be a good Buddhist not only as a monk, as a nun, but also as a householder, also as a father, yes, as a mother as well. Okay, and actually you can do many good things like this. Like you can teach the Dharma to your children. You can, for example, help a temple. No, if you are a householder, you also work, so you can give money to temples. You can print books, you can give out to people. So the options are endless, okay? And here in the larger sutra, and in many sutras, but especially here in the larger sutra, Shakyamuni Buddha is encouraging all of the Sangha, those husbands and wives, also kings, monarchs, also monks and nuns, to do good, and to practice virtue, I wanted to share.
And here it's in this passage that I quoted, you can see the guidelines of a good politician. So if you want to enter politics, you just follow, get inspiration from this one. And especially this one, everyone should decree that everyone should maintain proper conduct, which means that you should give laws and support laws that maintain proper conduct. Proper conduct can mean many things. Certainly, it also includes the marriage between man and woman, and that is also proper conduct. Or for example, many things that happen today in our society, like I talked recently with Daitoku about those pride parades. Those are certainly not proper conduct. So a good politician should decree that such things should not happen. A good politician, a Buddhist politician, cannot support such things because he has to work towards maintaining proper conduct and morality. He says here morality. So that's very important. So
yes, they should promote the Buddhist values, and if they can do
yes,
it, they should also promote the Buddha Dharma, openly. For example, a good example of this is, for example, the kings and the queens of Bhutan. It's a Buddhist country. It's a very good example. It's a very prosperous country, and they have promoted many great masters, Buddhist masters. And they have they openly promote Buddhist temples, and they encourage people, to practice Buddhist morality and to go to the temples and practice the Dharma. This is very good. And this has happened throughout history many times, in which politicians have instituted laws that actually benefit even other religions. For example, at some time India, with Prince Ashoka, or the time of the Nalanda universities, there were many other religions, but they live in peaceful harmony, yes, through some of the laws of the kings, yes, that prevented people from killing each other, or try to avoid problems with other religions. So have religious freedom was very important as well. And of course, to try to promote especially the Buddhist religion to prosper. This is quite important. I wanted to just along the lines that Yoshi Sensei was quoting. I wanted to quote. He was saying, Shakyamuni Buddha said, he said, this is when Shakyamuni Buddha not only encourages us to do good, but now there is the part in which he tries to encourage us to go to the Pure Land. He says, it is time for all of you to seek deliverance from the pains of birth, sickness, old age, and death. Outflows of depravity and defilement are everywhere, and there is nothing in which you can find true joy. I think this especially applies to us nowadays, in which you find such depravity with all of these gender ideology, pedophilia, wars, corruption in politicians. There is nothing in which you can find true joy. And actually, these are the outflows of depravity, that are contrary to the Buddha Dharma. Yes, you should resolutely, says here Shakyamuni, do worthy deeds with propriety. Strive to do more good. Control and purify yourselves. Wash away the mental defilements. Be sincere in word and deed, and allow no contradiction between what you think and what you do. This is very important. Then Shakyamuni Buddha also encourages us to go to the Pure Land. He says here, let me find the passage. Let me find the passage here. I'm so sorry. This section is quite long here. I'm so sorry. He says here. This passage is very, very important. It's very short, but it's quite profound. He says, however hard you may practice in this life, says Shakyamuni Buddha, it can only be for a short while. In the life to come, you will be born in the land of Amidaji, Amida Buddha, and enjoy endless bliss there. Being forever in accord with the way, with the Buddha Dharma, you will no longer be subject to birth and death, and be free of the afflictions caused by greed, anger, and ignorance. So this is crystal clear here. Shakyamuni Buddha, after explaining all of these valuable moral teachings about, and also warning us about the dangers of cyclical existence in samsara and all of the sufferings that people go, especially those who do not have any aspiration for liberation, or who do not believe in the Buddha Dharma. He says, even for those who practice the Buddha Dharma, however hard you may practice in this life, it can only be for a short while. So what does it mean? Is that it means that the Dharma is so profound, yes, even for those who practice self-power, that there will always be something to learn, yes? Even if you are the best practitioner, chances are that when you finish this life, there will be always some level that you haven't attained to, okay? There will be always something that you missed, or there will be another bodhisattva level before attaining final enlightenment. Our objective is to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, to attain Buddhahood, perfect enlightenment, okay? So even if we practice our best monk or nun life, for example, it will be for a short while, so we will not get enlightened. So in our cases, we don't even do that because we are worthless, wretched beings who do not follow even the Buddhist morality. Of course, we try to, but we fail, then we rely on Amida Buddha, and we will attain enlightenment through the power of Amida Buddha himself. And once we are born in the Pure Land, then we will live in endless bliss there, as Shakyamuni Buddha said. Forever in accord with the way, we will practice the Bodhisattva way as enlightened Bodhisattvas, and we will benefit beings eternally, yes, from the Pure Land of Amida Buddha. So this is quite important. So after all of these explanations, the most important thing is for us to try to be good Buddhists, to try to avoid evil, and entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha. So this is the most important teaching here. So we shouldn't believe that if we are saved by Amida Buddha as we are, that we shouldn't try to be good Mahayana Buddhists. No, on the contrary, we should be ashamed of our evil actions, and we should live humble lives, simple lives, and try to do our best to be good citizens, good Buddhists, good fathers, good mothers if we are part of a family, we are forming a family, good lay teachers, good monks and nuns in the case of us who have chosen this path. So whatever we do, we should always strive to do good and trust ourselves to Amida Buddha. Okay, this is a very simple recommendation, but very profound, and this is in accordance with the teachings of the larger sutra. Okay, I don't know if Joshua Sensei wants to say something else, or maybe our friend Daitoku.
Oh, everything is okay, as you said. So nobody can actually lead a perfect moral life in samsara, because if you could lead a perfect moral life in samsara, and you will be perfectly detached and have perfect wisdom, then you would be a Buddha. So we are encouraged by Shakyamuni to do our best, to lead a good life, to as best moral life we can. But in the same time, he also tells us that actually, in order to escape samsara, you should not rely on yourself, on your spiritual capacities, but on Amida Buddha. Shakyamuni also says here a very important thing. In the life to come, you will be born in the land of Amitayus and enjoy endless bliss there in the life to come. So birth in the pure land takes place after death. That's very important. This is one of the passages that indicates to the fact that Shakyamuni, hey, hello, very, very cute little girl.
That is your daughter. Now Amidabutsu.
Now
It's my daughter, yes. I'm sorry for interrupting.
What is her name?
No problem.
Nina.
No problem.
Mina.
Nina is her name.
Nina. I don't know.
Hello, Nina.
Now Amidabu.
Very good. So if you can come with the whole family at the temple. You are welcome.
Yes, thank you, Sensei.
Yes. In this passage, Shakyamuni Buddha clearly indicates that birth in the pure land is after death. Not here and now. So those who support the idea that the pure land is here and now, they contradict Shakyamuni Buddha himself. Because Shakyamuni Buddha clearly says here, in the life to come, you will be born in the land of Amitayus or Amida and enjoy endless bliss there. And we have other passages in the larger sutra and various masters who indicate that birth in the pure land takes place after death. Yes.
Yes, and
so
also
all in the pure land we will be Buddhas, and we will be able to practice perfect morality and have actually no attachment and no illusion, because all our faults, all our mistakes, and all our bad behavior actually comes from a wrong understanding of reality, from illusion, from ignorance, from greed, from attachment. That's why. And we can't actually, and as Shakyamuni says, however hard you may practice in this life, it can only be for a short while. Any success that you can have is for a short while. It's not forever. So only in the pure land you will be successful, completely successful in spiritual matters. Yes. Thank you for your presentation, Kosho Sensei.
Yes. Okay. I only wanted to end. Thank you, Sensei. Yes. I only wanted to end this long section that is quite important. I actually invite you to read the whole thing. It's very worthwhile. He also encourages us, Shakyamuni Buddha, to be born in the center of the Pure Land. He says here in one section, he said, you should each diligently seek to realize your aspiration. Do not entertain any doubt or give up your endeavors, lest as a result of that fault, you should be born in the 7 jeweled palace in the border region of the Pure Land and be subject to various disadvantages for 500 years. Okay, so remember, as we said, the reason beings are born in the borderland is because they still are attached to their self-power practices, and they don't have complete faith in Amida Buddha. And here is what Shakyamuni Buddha says that it is causing us to be born in the borderland. He says, do not entertain any doubt and give up your endeavors. That means that we should be very serious in the Dharma, and we should be very diligent in receiving Shinjin. This is the way that Shinran Shonin interpreted this the larger sutra. He said, always receive Shinjin and make others, or try to give others the chance to receive Shinjin themselves. So this is very important. We should do our very best to receive Shinjin in this life and try to our best to be born in the center of the Pure Land by following the primal vow alone. Okay, if we do this, then we will fulfill the wishes of Shakyamuni Buddha in the larger sutra. And according to Shinran Shonin, the center of the larger sutra is actually the 18th vow, the primal vow. Okay, so I think this is also quite important here because it's also mentioned in this section. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good. It's a long, it's a long chapter. So I encourage people to read it carefully.
To read the whole thing.
Also, those who want to pass the examination, they also have to read the entire chapter. Don't rely only on the videos that we make, because I might ask you from other things that Kosho Sensei didn't mention from this article. So Kosho already passed his examination, and he's now just making this public presentation of the examination. But when I do this examination in private with anybody who wants to become ordained, I might ask many questions from this chapter.
Yes, the videos are no replacement for studying. So
yes, yes, yes.
So read.
Because a video teaching like this can't actually explain everything that I explain in very much detail in the book.
It's a very long book, no? It's like a 400-page book.
Yes.
And in Spanish is even longer because it has the larger sutra.
Yeah.